That's what she said. I love that we can start off our recording on basically the aristocrats joke, where it's like you'll never actually hear what was just said, like it was not recorded, but the myth, the legend of it will continue to grow and perpetuate. Have you ever heard the story of, you know Gilbert Gottfried, right? You know, rest in peace.
We've talked about the aristocrats joke before.
Not that. There was another thing.
Okay.
So he was at the, you've heard of the Friars Club? So it's like a group where, they do this whole thing. So he apparently told a joke at the Friars Club that got some of the old comedians so upset and so outraged they were ready to fight him on the stage. So it was Shecky Green, who is still alive. He's like 96, and he's this old Borscht Belt Jewish comic. And so Gilbert Gottfried said a joke. Shecky Green got up, 90 years old, by the way, and was like ready to throw down with Gilbert Gottfried. And Shecky Green did an interview afterwards. He's a little Jew, and I'm Jewish, so I can call him the little Jew. I was going to throw that little Jew against the wall. And Gilbert Gottfried was like, throw me against a wall. He couldn't throw Gary Coleman against a wall. He was like, I heard he got so mad he tore up his Friars Club membership. Well, he tried to tear it up, and he just gave up, and eventually he went home and went to bed. And so Gilbert Gottfried had a feud with a 90-year-old Borscht Belt comedian over a joke that he told at the Friars Club. This was in like 2013. Like, this is recent history. This wasn't like 1965. There's a great podcast about it. And apparently, like, Shecky Green said, I was in the Navy. I never heard language like that. And Gilbert Gottfried was like, you never heard language like that? What were you, on the good ship Lollipop? You didn't hear any language in the Navy? And he's like, can you imagine if Shecky Green was there in World War II? Like, we were going to go fight Hitler, but someone said the F word on a boat. We got to turn around.
So you wanted political stuff first, right?
Jesus, have a drink, let's talk. Maybe we'll dance a little and see what happens later. No, what are you talking about? You want the political stuff first, right? And what do you want at the end? Like, what do you're like a bad Vegas hooker.
Oh, and you knew what you were getting when you signed on for this gig?
I knew you were in trouble when you walked in. Actually, can we talk about that? You knocked on
Taylor
my front door.
Swift? Oh.
You knocked on my front door.
I didn't even knock.
You chaotically.
I chaotically tried to break in.
Yes, you like jiggled my door handle, and my boyfriend and I were standing here and thinking, "What the fuck is that? Like, is the new neighbor like trying to kill me?" And it was you trying to kill me.
The new neighbor was confused at which apartment was hers, and so she was trying to get in.
She didn't remember Kyle.
And I came up and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am. Shady Pines is that way." And so then I jiggled the lock, or the handle, and then you opened the door and I said, "Gotcha, bitch," and stabbed you.
Ugh, that'd be great.
Well,
like, getting stabbed by you would be like a lateral move right now. Like,
I mean, it'll be the best thing that happened in your career.
Right. Well, now it's on recording, so we can't do it.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, but you can't do it. You can't pre-stab somebody. You can't just, like, you can't lead up to a stabbing. Like, a stabbing, the whole concept of a stabbing is that it happens in a very surprise way. Like, you're like, oh, what are you going to do? Stab?
No, you're not from the South, honey. You're not from the South.
What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean?
Southern women.
Rhetorically stab people, not physically.
Okay, fine. Same difference.
Look, just because you offer me something to drink and I can sit in your fucking veranda does not mean that, let's say, and then you walk out and you're like, so I heard you had the abortion. Like, what are you going to do to me? Like, what are you going to fucking do at this point? So the bottom-friendly foods for pride, that's our first topic.
Well, that was not our first topic, but
I'm going to make it our first topic. Was that on the list?
Eventually, but you asked me to start with politics, but okay.
That is politics. It's anal politics. So, Postmates puts out this ad saying bottom-friendly foods for Pride. Teaming up with that Heartthrob Anderson asshole, as the Instagram influencer, and whoever else. So, okay, inside scoop that nobody else has. A friend of mine was asked to do that campaign, and was contacted by Postmates like, "Hey, you're a gay influencer," like everything like that, and he was like, "This sounds stupid. Like, I'm not gonna do it." So they passed, and then eventually it landed on Heartthrob Anderson's door.
They passed?
They then passed.
Or he passed?
He passed.
Okay.
He's no longer with us. He passed.
No, I thought you were, like, you already mentioned that it was a gay male, so you can either use the he pronoun, or you're telling me that this
they,
is
the organization, passed.
Oh, I thought you were telling me this, like...
Don't pronoun corner me. You can't pronoun corner me.
Well, I thought you were telling me that you were friends with the non-binary person, and I'm like, I can't be
sure that I am
friends with you anymore.
But I just don't know.
You would know.
Why? No one pushes their pronouns on me anymore. They know I'm not going to remember them.
Or respect them?
I don't care. So, talk about the bottom-friendly menu at Postmates.
I didn't look it up.
You saw the post.
I saw the ad, I saw the post, and
it's the most egregious Pride ad because it's like literally like gays give us money kind of thing.
But the thing is, I understand the marketing and I understand the quote-unquote need for it and how people might find it helpful. But the fact is that they will only have it in place and like available for the month of June and then remove it like we've all just disappeared. Like we're no longer having sex because it's not June anymore.
So you're advocating for a year-long bottom-friendly menu.
Well, no. My point is, if you're gonna do it, leave it there. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally just, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry.
Pandering.
Yes, you're literally just pandering to a group of people for 1 month.
One of my followers posted something like coffee, iced coffee, like Dialogue, which isn't, by the way, Dialogue Cafe is owned by an old Armenian couple. They don't know what a bottom is. They're in West Hollywood, but they don't understand that term. Like, I've talked to them. They don't know what it means. And they got thrown on a bottom-friendly menu for their iced coffee drinks. Because they're actually really good. Like, their coffee and everything is really good. Like, they're a great Dialogue Cafe. Please sponsor our show. But what about coffee is bottom-friendly? I mean, it cleans it out.
I don't know.
But that's like, there's coffee. Oh, this is a meal with high fiber. Like, what is a bottom-friendly food? The bottom-friendly food is nothing. It's ice chips and fiber supplements. Are you going to use the Postmates bottom-friendly menu before you hit me?
Number 1, I don't need to because I do not have sex. Number 2,
you do not eat. Number 3, you're not a human. You're actually an alien.
Number 5, no. So, okay, I'm gonna restate this for the record. They have just put it up for 1 month, which is the definition of pandering. That is first and foremost. Secondly, if you are a regular bottom, you already know what you're doing and you already know how to do that, and you don't need someone else's help. So it's another form of pandering. You're just doing it to say that we've done something.
Why for Women's Month is there not a period-friendly menu?
Oh, God.
It's true. Wine, chocolates, roses, brownies. Why? No one said that. No one has offered a period-friendly menu. I think that it's anti-feminist to offer a bottom-friendly menu because bottoms...
You heard it here
first. Bottoms are replacing women.
Oh my God.
You don't have to deal with cycles?
I thought you were going to say we're replaceable, and I was going to...
No.
I was going to
They're replacing women. No. It's... Jerry. It's called femboy nationalism. These femboys are taking over the country.
Don't touch me.
It's true. bottoms are replacing women.
I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to find. I would be happy to find a straight man.
You'd be happy finally.
I would be happy to find a straight man who'd be like, I don't have to put up with that bullshit.
I'm just laughing at Lana Del Rey, the other woman, and it's just you there like in Joe's French maid costume from Real Housewives of Orange County season 1.
That is a deep cut that
Cleaning
I'm
up the piano.
to cut.
It's not a deep cut. I'll show you a deep cut. I'll call the rabbi.
Don't talk about my wrist that way.
You're like Demi. You don't cross the street. You go over the river or whatever the fuck it is. What were your topics?
Well, that was one of them. But enough
Demi
about...
Lovato?
No.
What?
The bottom-friendly menu. That was one of them.
Okay.
So
Are you ordering?
No.
Why?
Because I don't order from Postmates anyway. They're not my go-to. They're not my go-to app of choice. So, no. Next question. I'm gonna go straight into this one because it's something we started talking about.
That'd be the first time I went straight into anything.
It's something we started talking about earlier today, and I put a kibosh on it and put a pin in it so we could talk about it more now. The January 6th hearing started... I mean, when we're recording this, they started yesterday, but...
I don't want to be subpoenaed, but I have to say...
They started recently.
I was at Capitol Grill, and Liz Cheney showed me her snatch under the table on January 6th. She said that she was in the Capitol. She wasn't. She was in the Capitol Grill. She showed it to me between courses. I thought it was the shrimp tartare.
Ew.
It was the smell. But, you know... I said that for the first time. So Liz Cheney, please invite me to speak on your committee. It was January 6th, and I was there. You had 3 Long Island iced teas, and I was talking about how your dad fishes. And then you showed me everything, and I thought it was oysters Rockefeller. But I would love to speak in front of the January 6th committee because I was there.
After all of that is cut.
I was there.
You were
watching
not there.
January 6th happen live.
On the television.
On Twitter.
Okay.
From
Anyway.
the rotunda. I was in Nancy Pelosi's office. I love the... No. You knew where I was. But I love the thing about, like, on January 6th, someone tweeted. It's the funniest, one of my top 5 funniest tweets. They tweeted Chasten Buttigieg, and Chasten was like, "This is horrible. This is an assault on our democracy." And they're like, "They in your husband's office playing in his wigs." Nothing, and I mean nothing, will ever top that. But anyway, what do you want to say?
As I bring something serious into the conversation.
Please don't.
I don't think this has ever... I don't think this has ever happened. You know, they've had hearings for all kinds of fucked up shit that's happened in our country. And never... Well, I shouldn't say never because I don't know this for a fact. But I question why they're having it prime time when most other hearings are done during the day, during regular business hours.
But
The Mueller investigation, but before that, like the Hillary Clinton dossier.
The impeachment hearings?
Yeah.
Because there were 2 impeachments.
Yes. Every other big hearing that has happened, the COVID hearings, like with Fauci and stuff, those have all happened during business hours, during the day, normal times when people are at work, they know that no one really gives a shit. They're putting
you'll
these
catch
on.
the highlights. You'll catch the highlights in the news.
Right.
So the January 6th hearings, when are they playing?
So they're putting on the January 6th hearings starting at like 8 p.m. Eastern time.
That's
like
late for
prime
something.
time. And it's like, so you're trying to get you're trying to put propaganda on primetime television so everyone watches this right before the midterms and it sways people's votes, apparently. Like, it's their last-ditch effort to save themselves in some shape or form. And the fact that the footage that they are showing during a congressional hearing is a Hollywood-esque produced documentary and not raw footage is the height of propaganda. Like, you have, someone has selected these scenes, someone has put voiceover over it, it is ridiculous. And I am livid, if you cannot tell. What are they trying to get away with? What do they think that they're doing? They think they're pulling something over on us. I really hope to God the American people are smarter than this. Well, so Tucker last night on his show said, this is the only airtime we're giving to this, and he talked about it for like 20, 30 seconds, and he showed a conglomeration of like the nine stations that were carrying it, and like how they were all showing this very doctored footage.
So January 6th committee hearings, C-SPAN, CNN, both of which are not major networks, NPR, PBS, Public Broadcasting, both public broadcasting platforms, ABC, NBC, CBS, so the three major platforms, and then MSNBC, which is a cable news platform that's a branch off of NBC. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ways to access. The only major network not carrying this live is Fox. So, their viewing times, June 9th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which was, yesterday?
Well, yesterday when we were recording.
Yes. So it's Friday now. That was Thursday, June 9th.
Yeah.
And then June 13th again, so that's 10, 11, that's Monday, June 13th, Wednesday, June 15th, Thursday, June 16th, and then June 21st and 23rd. If they were serious, they would have this happen over the course of 1 or 2 days, during a week, not prime time, and get it over with. What are they going to find out on June 21st or 23rd they could not find out on June 10th? This is not an investigative hearing.
It is pure
propaganda. This is a production.
Yeah.
So that's why they invited the former president of ABC to go in and produce these, including the lighting and the stage.
And the teleprompters.
So that Liz Cheney knows what she's saying. This is
and the fact
a
that
government-produced production.
The fact that they have said... I did watch the opening statements because I was in between things at the time. The distinguished gentleman from Mississippi, who was the head of the committee, he was making his comments, and he basically, not even basically, he said that the people who stormed the Capitol were all white supremacists. Mm-hmm. And he also made reference to the many, many, many people who died that day. I am under the impression that only one person died that day.
I like many, M-A-N-Y, M-I-N-Y. Many small people died that day. Yeah, Ashley Babbitt.
Right, but he said...
And then one Capitol police officer had a heart attack.
No, so he said in the hearing... We have many of the widows, plural, of the people who died during the riots, during the January 6th riot. Right, but he made the statement that many of the widows were there to give their testimony. And I'm thinking, I was only aware of one, maybe two people who died that entire day. And what's he talking about?
I'm going to throw their own things back at them. They're doing a primetime hearing on January 6th, which happened over a year and a half ago. You're not inviting the widow or the widower of the Uvalde school shooting teacher who died, because he's dead. You're not inviting the parents of those kids in because they're gone. They were like, okay, let's get that out of the way. And let's talk about something that affected us. More people died in the Texas school shooting than died in January 6th and anything related to it.
And they gave that
the
less
sort
than
of
a
like,
day.
Yeah, that was like, okay.
And they're giving this
We want your
5 or
grief
6.
and you're gone. Like, you are gone. We got your grief. Okay, done. You helped us pass some meaningless legislation, which didn't actually go through. Great, thanks. Get the fuck out. Back to Texas. This, they're bringing in the entire... It's like this sort of like... This weeping continuation government. We are bringing in because, the trauma. The this. Yeah, trauma is losing a child. Trauma is all of this. Trauma is not someone came in and sat in your office chair. I'm sorry. If I was those victims of the school shooting, I would feel terrible that I got booked during a lunchtime meeting while they're planning a primetime show of what happened to them. Only an idiot chooses primetime hearings in the summer. People are out of the house. You're not there at 7, 8 o'clock Pacific time watching anything. You're out. And Eastern time, that's like 10, 11 o'clock. You're in bed. Like, there's a reason they don't release certain movies in the summer. There's a reason they don't release network shows in the summer. People don't watch their TVs in the summer. They don't care. They're out. They're with their families. They're on the lake.
I'm interested to see what the ratings are. I guarantee
I think it's
you.
low.
Well, I guarantee you, Tucker still had the highest ratings out of all of it.
Just one last thing on the hearings. They're very stupid because...
The hearings with the people.
No, the hearings. Because why would you... If you wanted to influence the midterms, which are going to be bad for Democrats, why would you host them in the middle of the summer, months before people actually vote? They don't care by the time they actually get to election day, number one. Number two, people who are watching them now, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because the people actually watching them already hold the beliefs that we're evil insurrectionists and all that. Like, you're not going to sway anybody during this.
Yes. So, to your point, last thing before we move on. Polling said, and this was part of the footage that I watched yesterday, polling said that like 65% of Republicans said they didn't care and they weren't going to watch. And then like only like 70% or 72% of Democrats said that they were actually going to watch. So, another, large percentage of Democrats were like, we just want to get past it. We don't care anymore.
If they didn't like Trump, what's going to make them not like him? Or are they going to hate him more? What are they going to do?
This is the last thing before we move on. The big bombshell was Liz Cheney read one of his tweets and only read the first half of it and did not put in the second, like the most important half. That's number one. And number two, they are showing footage from a produced documentary with voiceovers. Not appropriate, not okay, would not be allowed in a court of law. Why is it being allowed in a congressional hearing? Period. End of story.
Right. Warren Commission didn't have that. 9/11 Commission didn't have that.
You would not find a judge in this country who would say, yes, I approve of, someone's artistic vision to be shown in this courtroom. That is not fact. That is someone's interpretation of the fact and is not admissible in court. I'm sorry.
Okay, so as a spin-off of that, if they did not think that Trump would run again, do you think that they would have this? Do you think that they would do any of this?
I don't know.
Would it matter?
Probably, yeah. Probably they still would because they think that anyone tied to him could possibly be affected.
But let's say he didn't run, and it was Nikki Haley or somebody who he doesn't like and nobody cares about, or DeSantis or whoever. If he said, "Look, 2024, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm retired to Florida," would they care at this point? In the same way that when his second impeachment happened, when he had 12 days left in the office, Did they care? Or were they scared? He's going to run again, and we want to stop him, and any cost, like we want to, disqualify him from being able to run for public office. Because I feel like that's the ultimate goal. They're scared he's going to run again, and not just run again and win. Why would you put all this effort into somebody who doesn't matter? This man was the star of The Celebrity Apprentice.
I think they're scared because there is still a large contingent of Americans who believe and follow that ideology, and they want to either shame them or demonize them into renouncing that way of belief and that belief system or that way of life or way of thinking, and they're not going to.
But the Biden campaign and the promises that were made, as thin as they were, was that they were going to unify the country. This is a president for all Americans, and we're going to pull Republicans in. We're gonna bring them in, and we're gonna pierce the veil, so that these people can come in and we support them, everything like that. I don't think they'll be successful in that. Well, I know they won't be, but I don't. It's hard for me to believe that they think that they'll be successful in that. I guess that's my personal.
We are more divided as a country than ever before, and they think that they're going to fix it, and they're not.
I don't.
Next topic.
No.
Discovery Plus. Yeah, I this is coming out of nowhere. You're like, what? Discovery Plus has some new programming.
God.
Some of which I'm intrigued by, and some of which I'm horrified by. So first of all, which would you like to start with, the intrigued or horrified?
Horrified.
You pick. Okay.
Wait, are they doing the drag kids thing?
I was horrified because they have started a show called, I don't know what the title of the show is, Drag Nation or something like that.
It's called Grooming the Series.
But it's about drag kids going to a competition where they're performing in drag. So it's this docu-series following 5 of these kids who are basically, in my opinion, being,
groomed
and like abused, mentally abused.
Well, okay, I have to say this.
Oh, Jesus.
You're gay. I'm
What'd you call me?
stupid. As
You're a faggot. Anyway.
wow, and I'm the drunk one.
I'm not drunk.
Yeah, you're the faggot.
I say faggot all the
Tongue
time.
blasting your Jen Mule. Anyway, you have kids. I have kids.
I do not have kids. You mean hypothetically? Okay, gotcha. I want to be clear for the people, because I don't need you slandering my name. I do not have kids. I take Plan B every fucking time I have sex, and I've never had sex with a woman. So there we go. Continue. I had to set the record straight.
The record?
I had to set the record gay.
If you had kids,
Thank you.
and if I had kids,
God willing, that'll never happen.
it will. It already has. Would you ever take your children to a drag show, is what I meant to say.
No.
Okay. I would never take my children to a drag show because I think that's inappropriate.
I would never. And for the record.
What record?
Mr. Person that I've talked to on Twitter, I would not take my kids to any kind of beauty pageant or any of that bullshit either.
No.
It doesn't matter if it's straight, gay, whatever. It's inappropriate for
the
children.
Little Miss John Benet Ramsey pageant is weird.
It's
weird.
With the fake tits hanging out, or
that's Real Housewives of Orange County season 1.
Or the, fake dick tucked in between the legs.
That's season 3.
I'm not gonna bring a child to that, period.
No, that's very strange. And it's a weird sexualization of children. So I'm just putting it on the record because I think that drag is an adult performance.
Right.
You don't invite children to that. In the same way I said
And
earlier this week, before you said by the way, earlier this week, no kids at Pride. No kids at Pride, no kids at Pride, no kids at Pride. No kids at Pride.
So okay, two things. Number one, I know you didn't read my piece about Pride.
I did.
But when you guys were walking ahead and I saw the man whose erection, because he was not it was not soft.
Oh.
This man with everything on display, yes, underneath a Speedo-ish looking thing, but like everything on display. And a harness with the kids like right next to him, like throwing the ring toss and shit in the park.
What?
And we're walking, towards brunch, and I'm going, what is happening? And the parents are just like letting their kids play these games, and this guy's like walking down the street with a full-on erection, and I'm just like, I'm uncomfortable, and those are not even my children.
But that's the thing, like, that's not even okay on a Friday night in West Hollywood. Like, if someone walked around doing that, they should get the shit slapped out of them, because that's weird and kind of gross. But you're gonna do it during the middle of the day, on a Sunday, in front of children.
On the Lord's Day. Anyway, secondly, so yes, I made reference to that in my
That's my
post.
opinion.
I made reference to that in my post. So I've seen a clip of this drag kid show from Discovery Plus. And one of these 10, 11-year-old kids makes the comment that his mother brought him to a drag show, first of all. So that's suspect on its front. Secondly, he said, I was actually able to go backstage and meet the queens afterward.
Unsupervised?
I don't know. But that's even worse because, as we all know, backstage, we're doing drugs, we're naked, we're all of these things. Children do not belong.
I'm there. Children do not belong.
Children do not belong in this scenario. And so for him to say that his mother let him go backstage at a drag show where there's drugs and naked men parading around in wigs.
Sounds like Joni Mitchell's house in the 70s.
And you're a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old?
Yeah, that's fucked up.
That's a problem.
Fucked up. You cannot invite children to drag shows or to be a part of drag culture. Drag is an adult thing. And the thing that bothers me is it's like, okay, this is what's even worse. Straight people who should not be at drag shows, ever. I don't care how woke you are, don't go. No drag queen wants kids backstage. No real drag queen. If you want kids backstage, you're a fucking pervert. Like, no actual drag queen wants kids to come up and touch the costumes and get in the fucking way. They don't want the gays to be doing that. You think they want kids up there doing that? You think they want twinks in training doing that? No. And number two, these straight people in these very woke areas, these neighborhoods of DC and Dallas and Salt Lake City and wherever they're going to find these drag shows where they can take their children, these straight people a few years ago would not have been caught dead in a drag show. They're going because it's trendy. Because you see how accepting they are? We're at a drag show this weekend for brunch. We're not going to church. We're at a drag show. Oh my God. It's so much fun. And they need to be executed for everyone's benefit. These shitty straight couples who sit there with their low testosterone having two little, potato children. Why would you bring a child to someone who's sitting there tucking and running like an immigrant across the border trying to, go away from Mayorkas' cops?
So we had to erase what I said at the beginning, and you can say that?
They're tucking and running.
Anyway. Last topic, and then we'll quit.
Oh, God.
So this is a happy topic. So this is the fun thing that I saw on Discovery Plus. We have a we have a field trip to take. A new motel just opened in Palm Springs.
Can we get our $900?
No. A new motel just opened in Palm Springs this month.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a Discovery Plus show chronicling the renovation of this motel.
But
Guess who owns the motel?
Jeff Lewis.
Trixie Mattel and her
Trixie
partner.
Motel?
Yes.
And Katya?
No.
Oh.
So her partner, her boyfriend.
Yeah. They're getting into real estate?
No, they bought a hotel. They bought
I
a
love
motel,
it.
excuse me.
Love it.
In Palm Springs and redid it.
Okay.
And they shot a docuseries about them redoing it. And they invited all kinds, like, every episode has, like, a different...
Because Trixie Mattel is a real Midwestern, like, person.
Right. But they invited a different celebrity to come help them renovate a room, like, in every episode.
Genius.
So, like, Lisa Vanderpump, Leslie... What's his name?
Jordan?
Leslie Jordan comes, like...
him. I told you the Leslie Jordan story, right?
I want to like log into Discovery Plus just to watch this one show because
That'd be great. I
as
think
much
I
as
have a
I
login somewhere.
as much as I dislike the wokeism of Trixie Mattel,
She's not woke.
she's funny,
She's not woke.
and I think the show would actually be entertaining.
I think
and
that
I would
she's-
pay money to
she's
go
secretly-
stay in that hotel.
Right. She's secretly not woke, by the way. She's not.
Well.
She's anti-woke. Number one. Number two. Have I ever told you the Leslie Jordan story? So Leslie
No, but
Jordan,
I want to get your reaction to the Trixie Motel.
I think it's
and
great. Let's go.
when we're going to go record a podcast episode in one of the rooms as we get stabbed.
We can record a true crime podcast episode in one of those rooms, maybe. But Leslie Jordan used to go to the Starbucks that I used to go to in West Hollywood.
His mother died, by the way.
How old could she have been?
No, remember
150?
during the pandemic, he was like, he put out all those videos on Instagram like, "Hey y'all, how you doing?" or something like that,
Yeah.
and he's like, "I took mother to something
Oh,
today."
Jesus Christ.
His mother finally died.
Leslie Jordan was a patron at the Starbucks I used to go to. And he was there, he'd come in, he's very nice, talk to me, talk to these other people. And one day these young boys came in, and I think they were trying to rob the Starbucks. They were like 13, 14. Maybe 17, 18, I don't know. They're young though, young kids. And on the way out, one of the guys said, "Well, fuck y'all, all faggots anyway." And Leslie Jordan got up, all 4'11" from his seat, picked up a drink and threw it at this kid's head. He's like, "You have not earned the fucking right to say that word in front of us. You cannot say that in front of me." And just chased him down the fucking street. So imagine being chased by Leslie Jordan. He threw a fucking water cup at this kid's head, as he should have, by the way, because this kid was being inappropriate. Like, "Y'all are fucking faggots," this guy said, like, in the line, in gay Starbucks in West Hollywood. He said, "You cannot come into this space and say that shit. Fuck you," and just, like, chased him out. And I was like, wow. And then 2 days later, Daily Mail covered the story. Everybody saw the picture of him throwing the water above his head and everything. I'm there, like, bewildered, like, you know. But it was a great moment. And I have to give Leslie Jordan credit for that.
So last thing before we close out. On my way up here, this homeless man got a wheelchair and was wheeling himself backwards up my street. And I was stopped at the stoplight to turn onto Wilshire. And he just kept coming, and I had to roll down the window and yell, "Stop, or you're gonna fucking hit me."
Oh my
and
God.
he stopped, and he turned around, and he kept going. And so I turned on Wilshire in front of someone. I was like, "Fuck this shit. You are not gonna hit my white car with your fucking stolen wheelchair, you fucking non-invalid homeless bitch."
And what? There's a lot going on. So as your therapist, let's unpack this. So,
I like to be packed.
how did you feel in the car at the stop sign?
I was angry.
Okay, you were angry. Well, let's talk about your anger. Do we think that no, this is bullshit. I don't get paid enough for this. No, why didn't you just run his ass over?
If I would have put it in reverse and hit him, he would have sued me for something. I don't know.
It was me. It's me in a wheelchair being like, asshole. I thought you were recording your place. We're gonna watch Weeds. No, I
was so...
we saw that woman today driving home and just stepped in the middle of the road and directed traffic on her own volition. So it's getting wild in LA, people. It's getting wild.
Don't come here.
Don't come. Please don't come here. It's over.
Good night and fuck you all and thank you for listening.